promised this on the last cast. We're going to get into the book that we were given, Inside Marvin Glass. I think we're actually going to start there, Inside Marvin Glass's Toy Vault. Motel, why don't you give us a little background on Bill Paxton and gentleman that sent us this book?
Absolutely. I just want to start off by saying, like, we are so excited that Bill actually reached out to us to get this book on here and for us to talk about it.
This is a big deal for us.
It's huge, man. That's so cool. Especially because, like, we get emailed and like messaged like spam and junk all the time. So it's like it's no surprise. Like, I approach every message like, okay, well, if this person's pushing this product, obviously this is spam. They're not real. So I'm just like, when I saw that, yeah, and then I do a little bit more research, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that's awesome that he wants us to do this. And then I mean, obviously when you think Bill Paxton, I'm like, that's a fake name,
right?
Because it's like Bill Paxton. But I was just like, oh my gosh, like. Then I started doing some research on Bill. I was like, I had no idea. Like, he's like this decorated toy designer.
Yeah, man.
And he wrote this impressive, like, 600-page book that he wants us to talk about.
It is a textbook. It's a textbook for sure.
Yeah, it is. It's no joke, man. And it's a great read. And like I said, when I was doing some research on Bill, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so he works for like Big Monster Toys. Like I guess that's like a designing firm in the Chicago area.
Right.
And I had found out that he actually won a couple of awards for like design toys, like in recent years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I kid you not, this is hilarious. He was a part of working on one specific toy. I think it's the DC superhero girls, X-ray vision Supergirl.
Oh, yeah?
It's a girl's toy, so I don't have any business knowing about it other than I remember seeing commercials for it on TV, like when I would watch Power Rangers.
Right.
Like I would see commercials for this stuff, and I remember I'd look into it, and the only reason why I'd look into this specifically was because we were actually toy hunting the other week. And I had pointed out the Star Wars line of like the figures intended for girls. I forget what the name escapes me at the moment, but these like figures that are designed for girls to play with, they contain things like minifigures of Yoda and R2 and BB-8, and it's just like those are things that I'm attracted to. But I was never able as a kid to like buy stuff like that because it's like it's intended for girls. But like that's a really cool like exclusive, little toy in there. This is no different with this X-ray Supergirl.
What's the accessory she's got?
She has a little chromite that she comes with.
I don't know.
Well, you're not. I'm barely familiar with the whole world of that. But the idea, the gimmick for this toy is this Supergirl Barbie-ish looking figure has X-ray vision. So she comes with like this locker, like school locker, like she's in school. She comes with all these like backpacks and stuff. And her ability to like see through the lockers, it's like a gimmick where you push on the back of her, like a button on the back of her, and it like operates this infrared technology where it signals to the locker to light up. And it's translucent at the top, so you can it lights up and you can see the contents of the locker.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And one of those little contents is like a little chromite.
Which I still don't know what it is, but it sounds cool.
It's a little tiny, like, look, think of it like a little green flame with arms, like appendages and stuff.
Okay.
And I was just like, I love junk like that. I love like little toys, little figures. So I was like, I remember pricing it out. I'm like, let's see if I pick up the doll. Maybe I could sell it just so I could keep the little chromite. It's hilarious. I had no idea a person that was involved in designing that would later reach out to us to talk about his book. It blows my mind, and I'm just so honored, and I'm so grateful that we have this opportunity. That being said, we're not going to spoil this book.
Nah, definitely not.
I mean, we really dug into it hard, and I don't want to sit here and, talk about all these different things because, oh my gosh, it's jam-packed. If you want to know anything about Marvin Glass Associates, I mean, here it is.
Yeah.
And I say that because this book is a labor of love, clearly.
Definitely.
Because you can't find this information on Marvin Glass just on the internet. You can't. This isn't a Google search. Like it is insane the lengths that Bill went through to acquire this information and then put it all together. It took a span of like 10 years to get through.
Yeah.
Tracking people down, taking guesses at where people might have ended up in what towns, and then you're looking people up in those towns, see if anybody that's still around there that used to work at this firm, because apparently like he was working on a deadline where these stories were not told because Marvin Glass is a very secretive individual, so these people would start like dying off and the stories would die with them. So it's so cool the lengths that he would go to acquire this information. And it explains it in the book. I'm like, some of these things, like if I wrote a book like this, I would type it in Google. I'd be like, I can't find anything. Well, I guess I got to change the book.
Yeah.
It's like I can't find anything. It's insane the way the measures that he went to acquire this information. Yeah. Anything you want to say about it?
I was just gonna say, for those that are unfamiliar with Marvin Glass,
Yeah.
so Bill and a lot of other toy designers were really influenced by Marvin Glass, and he was a toy inventor himself. Worked at various different companies, and then he started his own company, Marvin Glass Associates (MGA), that was responsible for a lot of toys that you probably heard of and didn't really realize that he was a part of. So he didn't necessarily design all these. Some of these he did, but at least his company was responsible for some of these. So some are games, some are more toys. So Clackety Clack Teeth, that's one of my favorite. It's like one of the first ones. And the little teeth that kind of run across the ground and just like you wind them up. Those things are hilarious. And we'll talk about some of these, I think. Operation, the board game. Again, like didn't realize that was him. Rock and Sock and Robots, Mousetrap, Simon, Simon Says, or just Simon.
It's just called Simon.
Just Simon. I always called it Simon Says. Pie in the Face. This game was huge like 2 years ago. I had no idea it was such an old game. It's from like the 60s. So his company was part of designing that. Light Bright, again, just these like iconic classic toys. I didn't realize this going into reading this book, and I think that's what was so awesome for it about the book for me was, wow, like all these things that I just kind of took for granted. It's like, yeah, some toy company, created these things. I had no idea there was like a single individual that you could tie this back to. It's like,
Yes.
if not for this man, a lot of these toys would not exist. A lot of these childhood memories would not exist. So that alone, and obviously everyone on this cast is interested in toys and a toy collector in some way. It really is a great gift, I think, for the holiday season. Not to like sell it super hard, but at first when we got the book, I was like, I don't know, who would really want a big textbook like this? But I'm so glad we have it now, man. Like I really enjoy flipping through it, and just it's got tons of imagery.
Exactly.
It's written really well.
And that's what I wanted to say. Don't let the 600 pages scare you off, because a lot of it is filled with like all these pictures that you would otherwise never see. Like,
Right.
I don't even remember, but just like some like prototypes and things like that. I mean, it's crazy how much stuff is jam packed in there. Because I guess it would really only boil down to like maybe 300 pages of text that is actually in there.
Yeah.
And it's all good stuff.
It's like a textbook you want to read. Like if
Oh,
I had
yeah.
a class in school and it was like, here, we're going to learn about Marvin Glass, I'd be like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. Like just looking through all the pics, I'd be like, oh yeah.
It was hilarious because I remember responding back to Bill, and I was just like, there's no way he's gonna like send this to us. Like, this isn't real. This is
Yeah.
somebody spamming us. I still didn't believe it. I only believed it like after it ended up on my doorstep. And I buy a lot of stuff on like eBay, and I'm like, what did I order? Like, and I lift this up, and it's a brick. I'm like, what is this? Oh, it's the book. Oh my gosh. I was so excited. I remember I texted you right away. I was so pumped that we got to read through that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really like. To me, I never thought about like independent invention studios like this.
Yeah, me neither.
I just didn't. I never thought about it. Like, whenever you think of toy designers, like whenever we're complaining about something, you always look right back at Hasbro or right back at Mattel or
Yeah.
Lego, and you're just
Yeah.
like, what were those executives in that building in the design room thinking when they came up with that? You never think about them outsourcing like from stuff like this.
Yeah, never.
And Marvin was the guy that he's behind all that. He's why that exists. He's the guy that designed the method of, well, how about I just design it and then you pay me for that design, but you do everything else, but you continue to pay me for that design. Like, that's mind blowing. And
Like,
he did that in a time, what, it was like the 1940s.
He started in like the 40s, yeah.
Yeah. And that was like, what? That was like World War II.
Yeah, that's actually how he changed his name. He was originally born Goldberg, but he's afraid of his
Right.
Jewish name, so he changed it to Glass, just purely for business. Like it's in the book, purely for business reasons.
Yeah.
And it's like nothing else. He just didn't want to sound Jewish because of the time, because it was World War II. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy to me that he was able to accomplish that, and like that's what we do today. Like that's what obviously because BMT is a byproduct of Marvin Glass Associates, so it's
hmm
still technically in business today.
Yeah.
Um,
That was one thing I loved about the book is you read through and you do see some of those images. Bill put on those images. I'm assuming this is like Bill's decision, still in production today. So you can just see some of that, like Light Bright. You can see those toys where it's like, man, he invented this thing, or like someone on his team invented it 30, 40 years ago, and kids are still playing with it. It's
yes.
insane. It's really nuts. I don't know. I feel like I've recommended the book enough. What do you think? Any final words on it?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I don't. This is I can't stress enough that you can't just look this stuff up. Like it's not something where you can just go do a little research project. I mean, I tried. I wanted to get a little something like when he started talking when he was when I saw the book, I looked it up. I was just like I didn't have it in my hands yet. I'm like, okay, well, what's this about? Like what? Like then I started like researching. Like I mean, there's Wikipedia stuff, but it's like how much can you confirm is that? And then like there's a maybe one or two things on YouTube like to follow along with, and it's like there's nothing there, so you need this book.
It's such a big part of toy history. It's nice that it's captured in one place and it's just available. If you like for people to hang on to, like we have it,
Oh yeah,
we'll hang on to this piece of history even if it gets lost on like it's not really online. So even if it gets lost to history, at least this book exists.
yeah, and apparently there's a movie that's in talks or in the works.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah, I
cool.
believe Jim Carrey's actually playing Marvin Glass.
Oh, that's sweet. I didn't realize
So
that.
yeah, I mean, it's gonna be based on that. I don't. Well, you know what? I shouldn't even say he's gonna be playing Marvin Glass. He's gonna be playing a toy designer, I guess, based off of Marvin Glass. I think. So I mean, that would be totally cool. Like, I mean, Bill's out in front of this with this book, obviously. So you get the book and you go see the movie. I think that would be really cool.
Definitely.
Personally. So yeah, we're gonna throw some links up. To obviously like you can Google this and you'll probably pop up on Amazon. Definitely 100% check this out. Bill, thanks so much for sending it. And Bill also had mentioned that he was available to come on the podcast.
We'll have to hold him to that,
Well,
maybe.
maybe. I mean, Bill, I was like, after this had all kind of settled and I got the book, I was super intimidated. Like, I was kind of freaking out. I was like, I mean, we had never had another guest come on the podcast, and
Yeah.
we are working to do that, but essentially we're noobs. So it's like, I kind of panicked and I was just like, there's no way I have any clout or any capabilities of talking to somebody
Right.
like Bill, man. There's no way. So I was super intimidated by that. But he seems like the nicest guy. We are super honored to have that book in our collection. And thank you so much, guys. Definitely check it out and follow the links that we're going to provide.